conference play. And coming off of a loss up at Wisconsin to the Badgers in front of over 6,000 people, they have just a tremendous environment at Madison Fieldhouse, Badger Fieldhouse, whatever you want to call it. Used to be where they played their basketball and had boxing and everything else up there. But it's a pretty neat place that they have rehabbed a lot and improved it. So it's a fun place to play. And our team played pretty well up there for the most part. I think Wisconsin is as good as anybody in the country. Certainly they're the biggest and most physical team in the land. And when they are in system and they're able to run the offense that they want to run, they're nearly impossible to slow down. And that was the case for a good part of the night. But again, I thought we played at a nice level for the most part, and came back, and no rest for the weary as Penn State arrived for a Sunday matinee. And always concerned when you play a really good team that you've beaten a few weeks earlier, because you know that they're not going to be very happy about that. So I wasn't sure how this match would go. I thought that we would be prepared, and I thought our kids would play hard and be tough. And we got off to a really, really good start. Everything that was kind of in the game plan, the kids did a great job of executing and more, and won the first two rather easily. And then, if you know Katie Schumacher-Calla, you know she's not going to settle for that kind of a performance from her team. So they went back to the locker room and they came out, looked like a different team for sets 3 and 4. And fortunately, we got some momentum late in the fourth set, even though we didn't win it. We started to play at a better level and got the look in our eyes that we needed. And then in set 5, I thought it was the inspired play of the entire team, but it was initiated by Raven Colvin. And Raven had not been real good. They did a great job of staying in front of her all night long, and she was having a hard time getting free for any real good looks. It was just one of those tough matches for her for a while, but when it was all on the line in that 5th set, she snapped out of it. But both of our left side hitters were extraordinary. Freshman Chloe Chacoin, 27 kills, I believe, or maybe 29. Where was it? 27. And Eva, 24. And what people need to understand is they both make each other better. And because they're in the game all 6 rotations all the time, and they're kind of coming at you from different areas. One's in the front row, one's in the back row, one's on the left side, one's on the right side, or vice versa. They really make it difficult for teams to defend. And then when you have Lourdes Myers playing the way that she played and is starting to play on a regular basis, and the potential that Raven has on every night to cause some damage, it really gives us some diversity across the front row offensively. But I really felt like defensively was where we were strong. Our serving was better. I thought we mixed both some hard deep serves with some short serves that were effective, and that part of our game is improving. When I looked at our numbers this morning, our serve receive is really improving. It's been pretty good. It hasn't been bad, but it's getting better and better and better. So that's just a great sign. And I thought that our setter played brilliantly. Taylor Anderson, for a freshman, there were a lot of really good freshmen in her class, a lot of them. I don't know, who's playing any better than she is right now in that freshman class. She just looked so poised, made a ton of great decisions in that match, playing good defense, capable of being a really good right side blocker, serving well. So again, I was happy with the way we played, and to get 2 wins over Penn State, which I guess, according to our communications director, we haven't done since 1982. And I didn't realize that Purdue would have played Penn State twice in 1982 because they weren't even in our league at that point. But they played a lot of matches back in those days, so they could have found them at some tournaments and maybe even in the NCAA tournament. So good for Carol Dewey and company back in '82. And I think that would have been Marianne Smith's freshman campaign in 1982. So anyway, enough of me right now, and I'm ready for questions and excited about the week ahead. Obviously, we go to Minnesota on Friday, and then we are here for a really good and improving Michigan State team. So 2 teams in the top half of the conference that we play after playing 2 other teams in the top half of the conference last week.
Yeah, you talked about that Penn State win. Obviously, it was a big win for this season, but what does that mean to you to be able to look at the results for the year when it's all said and done and see that you guys beat Penn State twice in one season?
Well, I'm sure if we have the time later on to do that, it will be satisfying, because it's hard to do. I don't know how many times you go back and look over the last 20 years to see how many teams have actually beaten Penn State twice in the same season. It's just not that we had a hard time. Everybody has a hard time with that. So I would expect that you'll have that kind of a situation whenever you play Penn State.
Now, you talked about, you guys have had just a brutal schedule, and it doesn't really let up, at least for another week or so.
Yeah, I see no end in sight, to be honest with you. But, yeah, even the teams that you think, because they're down at the bottom of the conference, Michigan might be 13th in the league right now, but they've won 2 of their last 3, beating Maryland and Ohio State. Because they're getting more organized with a new first-year head coach. And this Michigan State team, we play them twice. They're 8-6, doing some terrific things. We have Maryland coming in here as well. That was a team that beat us in here last year with about the same team they have right now. So I just don't see anything that's going to be easy. But I think you're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, obviously that's a grind, but it's got its payoffs. What does that do for your team, for one, from the RPI standpoint, and then for two, just do you feel like you're going to end up seeing everything in the Big Ten and that'll prepare you for the tournament?
Yeah, I really do. And unfortunately, the RPI factor in the Big Ten is not as prominent as it should be. We're going to have maybe 5 teams to get in the NCAA tournament. I hope that somebody can get red hot down the stretch, whether it be Illinois, Indiana, maybe even Northwestern, that can get into the top 50 RPI and have a chance. But right now, there's only 5 schools in the top 45 RPI in the Big Ten, and they're so much better than that. To see Indiana at around 70 RPI is almost shocking to me, because we've played them twice. I know how good they are. And the same with Ohio State and Illinois, and some of these teams are just so much better than what their RPI is. So I think that collectively the Big Ten needs to look at how we're going to manage that situation, because it's really bit us in the rear this year. But as far as being prepared for the NCAA tournament, providing we get there, and I think that with our 15th win on Sunday, that pretty much assures us that we are going to be there. I don't know how we could have any kind of a collapse that would allow us to not make it at this point. But, yeah, the Big Ten does exactly that. It prepares you to play anybody. And, unlike in basketball, where sometimes you play teams all year that you have to prepare for and you build your team for, and then you play one of these teams that make it really, really difficult because they're totally faster or smaller or whatever you want to say. We really don't run into that same kind of thing in volleyball. Sometimes we'll have some teams that are great ball control teams, or they serve really tough, or they run a really fast offense, or things like that. But the size of the Big Ten, and size is what really is a big factor in this sport right now. And so if you're a smaller team playing a big team, you've got some problems. And, we found that out at Wisconsin. They're just so big. Sometimes they're just impossible to stop. But I do think that the competition that we've played from start of this season until now will definitely have us ready to play anybody.
Kind of going off of that, I wanted to talk about the parity of the Big Ten, which is just going to be, more brutal when you add these teams in the future. But I think back to when Penn State was running the table every year, and you said, everybody else is coming, and it seems to. I know Nebraska's 14-0 in the league, but it seems like we're at the point now where it wouldn't be a shock if Iowa went out and beat one of the top half teams in the league. How is that good for the sport, for the league, where everything is must watch because you never know what can happen?
Well, I think it's great for fan participation. It's not great for coaches. You don't know if you're going to win any match. This team gives me a little more confidence than some teams have, because we're so competitive. We've got so much toughness, and they've proven that they can win the close ones and that they're always ready to play. But, we're sitting at 9-5, and we're tied for third, one game above 2 teams that are 8-6, and another game above several teams that are right below that. So it's a real quagmire right now, like you're talking about. And I think it gives a lot of promise to teams. You know, the RPI is the thing that really is creating some negativity, I'm sure. It's just that a lot of these teams just don't have any opportunity now to make the tournament because it's almost mathematically impossible for some of them to get there. But I do think it's good. I think that the competition for TV, every night you turn it on, you know, you can, like you mentioned, you can have Iowa playing Minnesota. It's going to be a good match. There's just no doubt about it. And Iowa hasn't beaten anybody yet, but I would be surprised if they don't before the end of the season.
And you touched on Lourdes Myers. With the caliber of players that you have with Raven, with Chloe, with Eva, you know she's going to get some one-on-ones or, you know, some open looks. But it seemed like, especially against Penn State, when you needed a point, you could count on, you know, that's a player we can go to, and she's going to put the ball away in whether it's a stop the bleeding moment or we just need a point here.
Yeah, she's just exploded onto the scene this year, and not just in her effectiveness as a player, but her personality on the floor, her vocalness in practice, her desire to get better all the time. And that's what success does. Success breeds success. And it makes somebody get even more excited because they start to see it happen. She's been here for 3 years, and not a whole lot happened during those first 3 years. Two she redshirted. One was an injury redshirt. One was just a normal redshirt. And so that can stunt someone's growth a little bit just emotionally. But, wow, has she woken up. And she's just doing wonderful things for us. And teams still want to kind of sleep on her a little bit. And I think her numbers, what were they, 8 for 11? 9 for 11. So 11 swings, 9 kills, 0 errors against Penn State, who has size and physicality. And again, when she starts doing that, and then you have Raven start to do some things, and whether you get a right side player, that's going to also get some one-on-one looks because the focus is still going to be on the other side of the net. If you're a right side player, you're a long way away from where this defense is going to be focusing their time and effort. You're going to have some great opportunities, and I think you'll see our right side players also getting more opportunities.
Speaking of that, what's an update on Grace's status?
I don't know at this point. I think it was an ankle injury, and sometimes it takes a couple days to figure out where they are with that. But she would not have left the game if it wasn't of some magnitude. She'd have hung in there and played, but she was not really ready to try to test that. So I know it was a pretty serious ankle injury. But I thought Rastovsky came in, did a great job. And it was, you know, like I say, when somebody goes down, it's an opportunity for somebody else, and we've proven this year that we've got people that are ready. Yes, Rachel.
Speaking of Rastovsky, her development and practice, can you speak to her development and then as well of her performance in the match?
Yeah, just one of the great things about our training and our culture is that people play hard all the time. I would say the best part of my job is practice, walking in and being part of that environment where everybody comes in and they're focused and they play hard and they have fun and they know that, you know, if they get things done, they're going to have an opportunity to play. And Emily Rastovsky is one of the hardest workers that we've ever had, yet one of the nicest and kindest individuals we've ever coached. And she still is just trying to, I think, get comfortable on the floor because, again, she redshirted, didn't play a lot last year. Now she's been here her 3rd year, and she's starting to get some action. And she hit a couple balls in that match against Penn State. I'm sure opened some eyes up with the crowd that was there because she can get on the ball. She touches about 10.5, 10.6. She was state high jump champ in Indiana. So she's a really, really good athlete, and she's willing to do whatever you ask her to do and more. So it'll be fun, I think, for our fans to follow her.
And then lastly, what is the message to the team ahead of Minnesota on Friday?
Well, I haven't given it yet. This is our day off, so I'll have some time to ponder exactly what that is. But as I've mentioned, with this team, I don't have to be really creative. I don't have to be Lou Holtz. You know, they kind of figure some stuff out on their own. They've got their own agenda and their goals, and they know where they want to finish in this Big Ten. And it's realistic but difficult. And I think when they come in after having a day off, which we have not had many full day offs in a while, you know, we played, I think, 4 matches in the last 9 days and against good teams, and I think we split those 4 matches, so we weren't winning them easily, that's for sure. And that's the thing that, you know, Sam talked about. You look at our I know we've swept somebody, but we haven't swept many. And I think the only team that's gone through this league with some sweeps has been Wisconsin. Even Nebraska, who's the #1 ranked team in the country, is losing 2 or losing 1 in several of their matches. So it's just a real battle. So my message to our team would be the same it's been all year. Let's focus on Minnesota. They're going to be angry. They've got great talent, and we have to be as well prepared as we can. Then we got to outcompete them when we step on the floor and be willing to make adjustments, because that's a hard place to play. And they'll have a great crowd, just like Wisconsin did, same kind of a crowd. And it'll be another exciting adventure for our volleyball team. Yeah. Corey, anything from you? Okay. Hey, thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week. Oh, one other thing. Good luck to our women's basketball team tonight out at UCLA. Our men are right here playing Samford, and I just hope our fans will embrace these two teams and not worry about how many points we win by or how many we lose by, but just realize that these guys they're going to be both really, really good. And I read where Sam King mentioned that the basketball team is certainly, the women's team is on the upswing. He's got great confidence in Katie Gerald's, and I'm on board with that too. And I also have some confidence in Matt Painter. Boiler up.